To all who listen to this happy pod, welcome. My name is Noah Parker, and this is My World of Wonder. Today, I'm joined yet again by my sister, Marci.
Hello.
Which means it is DCOM day,
Woo.
and I'm so excited. This is one of the first ones that I really remember watching growing up. And I don't remember loving it when I was young.
Oh, I loved it.
But I have a newfound, I don't want to call it a passion, but a newfound love for this movie. After this, I watched it twice. I watched it yesterday and I watched it today. I definitely have a new love for this movie that I didn't have before.
Yeah. Like a new appreciation for it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The movie that we are speaking of, because I didn't actually say the title yet, is The 13th Year, which is spelled out the number 13, like THIRTEENTH, not 13TH. Yeah.
I made that mistake. Okay.
Yes. So yeah, The 13th Year. And this one was released in 1999.
Yes.
Not like all the other times when I kept saying the wrong year and then, and then figuring out later that I was
during
wrong.
the podcast figuring out it
exactly.
was different.
This one is actually 1999.
Yeah.
So Marci, will you go ahead and please read the whatever it's called? I forget.
The summary?
That's the thing.
Sure. Okay. After he begins to grow fins and slimy scales on his 13th birthday, Cody learns that his birth mother is a mermaid. Yeah.
So something that Marci and I were just talking about before we started is that we think we're going to let her start writing a summary for the movies.
I'll do the best I can.
Starting with the next one, because these summaries that we're getting off IMDb are like the most basic forms of the plot.
Yeah.
And it also gives away the plot a lot of times. So
like you don't even technically learn that he's adopted. Like, I mean, you do.
Yeah.
Like in the first 5 minutes you understand that.
Yeah.
But they don't say it until his birthday party.
Right.
So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. So I wanted to go through the cast list like we usually do, but then I've also added like the director, the writer. I also included music, cinematography, and the editor this time around. But for the cast, let's go through the first 10, and we'll just trade off character and actor, then character. So in the order that it's on there.
Okay.
So actually, no, character first. Sorry. So read it bottom to top instead.
Okay.
Because it makes a little bit more sense to tell the character and then the name. So,
yeah.
So in this movie, our main character, our protagonist, Cody Griffin, was played by Ches Starbuck, which is a freaking sick name.
That's a cool name.
I like the name Ches.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Then we have his he becomes his best friend.
Yeah, his nerdy best friend.
Jess, is that Wheatley? Yeah. Jess Wheatley, played by Justin John Ross.
Yes.
Three names.
And I'll warn you guys, if you guys go onto IMDb or Google the cast of this, the picture is not
that is not the correct picture.
I refreshed the page 4 times and I was like, is this just bugging out weird? But no, that's just the photo that's in there. So
that is indeed the wrong person.
Yeah.
Wrong actor.
So yeah. And then our protagonist girlfriend, Samantha, with no last name, was played by Courtney Draper. Who's definitely been in things since this that I've seen. I just can't put my finger on it.
Right. I'd have
and
to
I was going to go through and like, I was going to deep dive and like put different movies that some of these people were in. And I'm like, nah, I'm sorry. I can't be bothered.
Yeah. Okay. Then we have their swim coach. He's just titled as coach, or credited as coach, played by Brian Haley.
Haley?
I think it's Haley.
I don't know. One of the two. And then Cody's adopted father, spoiler alert, if you watch the movie with us, you should already know that. Whit Griffin was played by Dave Coulier.
Yes. I forgot he was in the movie, honestly.
I knew he was in the movie, but for some reason I was thinking he was the coach and not the dad.
He does
but
have
I remembered
a coach
he was
energy.
in it. He does.
Okay, and then then we have Cody's adopted mother. Adoptive? Yeah, adoptive mother, Sharon. Wow, I can't see this.
Okay, I work with a girl named Sharon.
Sharon.
Well, I don't work
Griffin.
with her. She's a manager of another store. Okay, I work with her, and so many people do the exact same thing. They call her Shannon, and I'm like, it's
R looks like when it's that close to an O, it looks like an N.
I mean,
and I'm gonna
I guess.
blame it on my acute dyslexia.
Okay, I'll take it. But everyone does it, so it's not just you. It's not an isolated incident.
So Sharon Griffin is played by Lisa Stahl.
Yes, that she did not look familiar whatsoever, but
I'm sure she's been in other 90s things that we've seen, but again, we'd have to deep dive.
Yeah, no thanks. Then we're gonna go the two after this. I don't even know if we need to do that.
No, we can just do this last one.
Yeah, okay, we'll just end it off with this one because the other two aren't like super important characters. But so the next one is Brent Briscoe. And he played Big John Wheatley. I forgot that I didn't actually talk about that part. That was Jess's dad.
Yeah.
The man obsessed with something. That if you haven't watched it yet, we'll get to in a moment.
The first scene in the movie.
I guess I do want to quickly mention Reagan Burns because I have a note about him later on, but I'll just put it out there now.
Is it Reagan or Reagan?
I think it's Reagan.
You said Reagan.
I didn't. I said Reagan.
I'm pretty sure you said Reagan.
I'm sure I said
Reagan.
But he plays Joe, which is just like he's literally only at the beginning of the movie, I think, and you never see him again. He's one of the guys who's given Big John a hard time. The reason I wanted to mention him is because he, in future, like years later, plays the dad on Dog with a Blog.
Yes.
And I really love when that happens, where there's like somebody who was on Disney a long time ago shows up again.
Yeah.
Krispy Kreme. I love it.
That.
Cool. So that is the cast. Since I did the last cast member, I'll let you hit the director then.
Okay. The director was Dwayne Dunham. Dunham.
I don't know. Dunham.
I'm like super enunciating words today,
That's
and I don't know why. I'm sorry.
Someone's got to.
I said Dwayne. Dwayne Dunham.
Yeah.
It's probably just Dwayne.
Right.
Dunham.
Probably. And then it was.
Okay. Sorry. Go ahead.
It was written by Jenny Arata. Arata. There's like too many vowels. And it was also co-written by Robert L. Bard.
Sure.
Something like that. And Kelly
Senkel.
Something like that.
I'll say Senecal.
Yeah, Senecal. Okay. There you go.
Then the music was by Phil Marshall.
The cinematography was by Michael Slovis.
And it was edited by Brian Burden.
Yes. I wanted to go a little bit deeper with the casting crew on here.
I like it.
Just because I feel like there's hundreds of people that were on this film.
Right, yeah.
So like, I would love to give all of them credit, but that would be the whole podcast.
That would be the whole 1 hour.
Yeah. Okay. So, let's just dive in.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys got to watch the 13th Year with us, but not with us necessarily, I guess, but you got to watch it before.
That could be a fun
this is coming out. Just watching it.
Just watch it and commentating.
It'd be kind of cool, but like, I don't know where it falls under Creative Commons and stuff. So
That's true.
I don't know. It's kind of tricky to do that.
Never mind.
Yeah, that's all right. Okay, so what I want to try to do, if we can make it work, if not, we won't. We'll just whatever. Is I want you to explain the scenes, like briefly go through the scenes.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna interject some of my thoughts, and if you have extra thoughts, you can do that as well.
Okay.
But yeah.
I'll try to remember them in order. Like
hopefully you can read my comment and get the context and kind of remember. I'm hoping.
Yes.
But yeah.
Okay. So we start. I believe it's like Cody as a baby and his mom swimming in the ocean. And I believe Big John's fish radar detects that there's a fish.
Well, he's sleeping. He's got a fishing lure in the water.
Okay.
He's sleeping, and then he hears it go chick, 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 chick.
Yeah, he hears it move.
Yeah, and then it wakes him up.
And that wakes him up, but then he does see it.
Then he sees it on his fish radar.
On his fish radar.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, it's a big fish. I better go catch it."
Yeah. So there's two things
Yes.
in that in the first 2 minutes of the movie where I'm like,
30 seconds.
hold on, I have questions.
Yeah.
The first question was, why was the mermaid mom so close to shore?
Right.
Like, do mermaids nest like sea turtles, and like she gave birth to the kid on the sand?
I don't know if she gave birth to him on sand because they're like underwater swimming,
right?
And she's like holding him as
like,
she's
maybe
swimming.
she nests, but like,
so
that's really close to civilization for someone who doesn't want to be seen.
That's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, and so I thought it was weird that she was there in the first place, but I was like, whatever.
Yeah, is she supposed to be like a siren mermaid though?
Yeah, so I'm like, I'll ignore this for the time being.
Yeah.
And then my next question was, is there really a fish sonar? And apparently,
in 1999,
there were.
Okay.
There's vintage ones, which means they're old. Probably not that old.
Probably not that old,
but the sound that it made,
mm-hmm.
I don't know if you noticed. I caught it immediately when I heard it. Was a sound that they used on Xenon, Girl of the 21st Century. And I'm like, if this fish radar does exist and it does make a sound, it does not sound like Xenon Space Station. I promise you that.
Yeah. I didn't pick up that it was Xenon specific, but I was like, that sound is familiar.
Yeah.
But I couldn't like place where it was. And then I saw your note here and I said, that's
like,
it.
Every time I heard it, I was like, why is it like, it felt like I was watching Xenon again.
Right. Yeah.
Anywho, okay.
Anyway, so the mermaid mom, mermom as you have written over here, I thought that was clever.
Mermom was funny.
She puts Cody, he's unnamed at this point. She puts the baby. I don't know why she thinks putting him in a boat is a good idea, but
she just like put him in a net that was open is what I thought.
Yeah,
but it's also
like
didn't
hanging
make
off
sense.
of a boat though.
Yeah.
So she like sets him in the net and swims away and like distracts the Big Joe.
Yeah.
And that's when he's like chasing her around in his boat, and then she pops up out of the water, and that's when he sees his first mermaid.
Yeah.
His only mermaid. And then one of my favorite parts is like, he's like, oh my God, the guys aren't going to believe this. And he starts like boating away. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Motoring away. And he's like literally headed towards the lighthouse.
Yeah.
And this is why I think she's a siren mermaid, is because she's like waving to him and he's like, oh, you're so beautiful, blah, bye mermaid. And then he crashes his boat. He full on crashes. How did he not die from that crash? I have no idea. How did the boat not explode?
He sailed it into the port later.
It was like,
didn't he? Maybe he doesn't.
I don't know.
You don't actually see him go home yet.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, he just crashes.
I love that. So there's a note before that I had that I thought was hilarious. Maybe I don't need to mention. I don't know. There's just an on the nose comment where she's like trying to hide behind a buoy so she gets out of the sonar. And then he says, like, if I didn't know any better, I'd swear this fish was half human.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
And it's like, wouldn't you, the notion of a mermaid existing have to already be in your mind before you even make that comment? Right. Like,
yeah.
It just didn't even make sense.
He just like made the comment because he was like,
like hiding. He's
like, oh, you're hiding. You can hide, but you can run, but you can't hide. And then he said, "Oh, now we're playing hide and seek."
Right.
And then he makes a comment. If I didn't know any better, I thought this fish were half human.
I still feel like it has to.
And
has to be a You have to be thinking about it already.
He probably has heard. He's a sailor. He's probably heard about mermaids before. Sorry.
That's fair. That's okay.
But
That's fair. It's fair.
He's probably. Mermaids aren't a new thing in 1999.
Right.
Like, so...
Right. They've been around for a while.
He's probably heard of a mermaid before.
Probably.
So...
The other note that I had is it keeps happening throughout. Granted, this maybe doesn't work as well because of the whole, like, she's a siren and she makes him crash her boat.
Right.
But I'm like, if she doesn't want to be seen, like, why does she keep going up above the surface of the water? She's a mermaid. She doesn't need oxygen.
But does she?
She shouldn't.
I don't know.
What's the point of being a mermaid if you need oxygen?
But like whales pop out of the water.
Okay, but whales aren't mermaids. They're whales.
But they're okay. Anyway.
Anyway, but yeah, so the poor mermom just wanted her baby to be safe, so she put it in there.
And then the boat leaves.
Yeah.
And so when she comes back to get her baby,
he's gone.
He's gone.
And she's like, uh-oh.
Yeah. But then so like, what are their names? Whit and Sharon.
Mm-hmm.
They hear the baby crying.
Oh, first of all, Uncle Joey. Oh my
Joey.
God. I love Dave Coulier. But I couldn't help but see Uncle Joey from Full House.
Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped a little bit of your
notes
okay. Here. I'm sorry.
I'm not worried about that one.
I do like that one though. Her little nod off to John crashing.
She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
For my note, I wrote like, she nods as John crashes his boat. Like, all you sailors are the same, always crashing your boat from pretty women.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
Uncle Joey.
Uncle Joey, yeah. And so they're on the boat, and Sharon hears the crying, right?
Mm-hmm. She makes it sound like she's been hearing it this whole time.
Right? She's like, there it is again.
Yeah.
Like it's been...
like she's been hearing it since he was put on the boat.
Right. And she just hasn't reacted until conveniently now.
No. Yeah.
And then, so like they're sailing, and he turns off the boat, and he cries again. And he's like, hear what?
Yeah. She's like, sounds like a baby cry. She's like, sounds like crying.
Yeah. But like, there's no way he didn't hear that baby crying before he said, hear what?
I love his delivery on like, oh, that's just a baby crying.
Yeah.
Huh?
I wrote in my notes that is the most Full House line in the movie.
Yeah.
It's like, when he said it, I was like, that was straight up Joey from Full House. That was, you can't convince me otherwise.
Right.
Like, that's just the sound of a baby crying. A baby.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just the way he said it was funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
I love this next note it's the next thing. She's like, can we keep him? He's like, no, we can't keep it. This his line where he says, this isn't a dollar bill you found on the side of the street. Like, you can't just keep a baby that you found. And then she's like,
absolutely not.
Yeah. And then she's like, we can call him Cody.
And he's like, that's a great name. And I'm like, it's been 2 minutes, sir. And
you've
already changed your mind.
You just
Stick
said you
to
can't
your guns,
keep
bro.
him.
Stick to your guns. That was funny.
Yeah, I think so. This note here where you have poor mom just accepts that her kid is gone and she can't get him back. Mm-hmm. I think her acceptance of that is like, she can't reveal herself, right?
Right.
Like, she can't be up and be like, excuse me, that's my baby. Do we need to pause?
Apparently.
Okay. I'll pause real fast. Go.
Okay.
Back on track. I feel like her acceptance of it is like that she can't talk, if you notice. Like, she doesn't verbally communicate. It's not until later that she even communicates. Right. So I think she just realizes that they found him, and then she knows that they can give him a good life. Like, she somehow instinctively knows that they're going to be good parents to him. I guess. But she also just looks so freaking disappointed. So I'm also like, I feel like she's also a little disappointed in herself because she left him alone. Yeah. To crash a sailor's boat. And so that's like her acceptance of like, well, this was kind of my fault. Yeah, that's fair. You know, but it's still very sad. Yeah. Poor mermom. Honestly, poor mermom. I wish she had a name. We should give her a name. I don't know. We can think of one. Okay. Okay. So then they adopt him, and then the next scene, it flashes forward 13 years later. Yeah, it literally shows. In between, you see the mom. The mom's hair is super curly and playful in the first scene, and then the second scene, super curly. I thought it was it was like wavy, but it's like playful. It's like And then in the very next scene, her hair is straight, and I'm like, and that is how you can tell that 13 years have passed. 13 years has passed because she has aged. The curl is no longer there. It's like, what's his name? I can't even think of the name. John Mulaney. He's like, and when I came back, the nurse was wearing glasses to show that time had passed. Yes. 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 That was great. That's how I felt about it. Yeah. Oh, we completely like passed over why, like, okay, so there's like one part before they find the baby where he asks, he's like, why are we here again? Like, I guess they just moved to
They were
this
currently moving. I
island?
believe
Are they on
it
an
seems like
island?
an island
Okay.
to
They
me.
don't actually say, do they?
No, but I'm assuming it's an island.
Anyway, yeah.
But I don't know where because
They don't ever say.
I don't.
Somewhere mermaids are.
Yeah.
So, if you guys watch mermaid shows, they're probably in
Costa
Australia.
Rica. I don't know.
Costa Rica. Australia. Mako mermaids. H2O.
Well, yeah, but
They're
they're definitely
all
not in Australia.
I know. But that's where I know mermaids are.
Valid.
Anyway, they moved there to start a tour boat company.
Right. Well, actually, she's moving there because she wants to escape.
I can't remember.
I don't remember exactly how she words it, but basically she wants to escape capitalism.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're still in the U.S.
in
though, aren't you?
America. Anyway. So they skip 13 years later. And it's... How does that scene open? Cody's grabbing something.
He's like staring into the water.
Mm-hmm.
I don't...
Oh,
he's not really doing anything.
Is he untethering the boat?
No.
Tethering? I don't know.
No.
He grabs something.
I don't know what.
Maybe it's a tool.
Maybe. But he's just like staring at the water.
Yeah.
And then his mom comes out and is like...
Yeah, and he's like, I'm coming.
Cody.
Yeah.
And then he runs inside to see his dad.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why didn't... And then he goes up to his dad. His dad's like, I need you to... When I say now, I want you to start the engine.
I think that's why he was
And I'm
getting
like,
a tool, is he was taking it to his dad.
I guess. But he didn't hand him anything. He never got close enough.
I don't know.
And I'm like, if you just wanted him to start the engine, why didn't you just tell mom to tell him to go up there and wait for your signal?
Yeah.
Because he wasted a lot of time.
they had to show that there was something wrong with the boat.
I guess.
So
yeah.
Cody had to go there. Otherwise, they had to follow the mom there.
That's valid, I guess, but whatever.
Cody's the star of this movie.
Yeah. So then, yeah, he tries to start the engine and it blows up in Dad's face.
And
this was the thing that I said was the most Uncle Joey line in the entire movie, I think. Mm-hmm. Like, not so much Full House line, but like the most just Joey line.
Yeah.
Whereas he, like, after it blows up, he's like, oh, I just need a hammer, a fire extinguisher, and a little duct tape. And we'll be back on the road in no time. And I'm like, that was so Joey because he sounds like he's being sarcastic.
Yeah. He has... That Joey character came out.
Yeah, it did. I couldn't help but seeing Joey in this whole movie anyway.
Yeah. And like the old lady who's like, young man, we should have been gone. We should have been on the water 20 minutes ago. The last boat tour I went on, they had snacks. Do you have snacks? And the whole time Cody's just like, I'm going to ignore you.
That's so funny.
She's like, for $5, we should have been on the water by now.
Oh my God. Like, when I heard that line. $5. When I heard that line, I was like, I would sit on the boat for 3 hours for $5.
I would go on that boat. I would just sit on that boat. I don't care for moving.
You couldn't get that tour.
Yeah.
For $5 now. You couldn't get it for $20 probably.
No. It's probably like $50 for a 30-minute boat tour, maybe.
Yeah.
That's a good. That could be something we can Google later. I don't know.
Yeah.
Boat tours in America.
So the next clip. Mm-hmm. Basically, he's freaking out because he's not gonna miss the swim meet.
Yes.
So then it quick goes over to the pool at the school where he's currently missing the meet. Yeah, I knew it was gonna happen. And then the freaking coach is like, "I want you guys to give me 200%." Yeah. And I'm just like, that is the ultimate coach cliche.
Right. And he's like, because if you guys win this, it'll be the first time that our school goes to the championships in like his entire coaching career.
Yeah.
So
and I'm like, bro, you can't. Yeah. So what I wrote was the ultimate coach cliche: asking for more than 100% of something is impossible.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Bro. And then it goes back to Cody and his family.
Yeah. Because his mom's like, if you run, you can catch the ferry to get to your swim meet on time. And he's like, I'm already late, but okay,
sure.
Okay. And he gets to the ferry right as they're closed. Like they're like, sorry.
The gate closes and it's pulling away, and I'm like, you probably close the gate before you start moving. But okay. But
I don't know boats. Maybe that's how you do it.
A ferry. I don't know. Maybe so. Yeah.
And so Cody's just like, I'm gonna swim there. Right. Great idea. I'm gonna swim there, and he just jumps into the water and swims.
He outswims the ferry. I'm like, bro, why do you even bother with the ferry? Why do you even waiting for mom and dad? Just go.
Yeah. So like,
he can train every day on his way to school. Also, I was
Yes.
looking at it and I was like, you can still see the island very clearly behind them from where the ferry leaves
Yes.
to where it ends up. And I'm like, can't we just build a bridge?
Can there just be a bridge?
Just
Be so
over
easy.
just over the water.
But then they'd lose all their ferry money.
I guess. They just toll the bridge. It's fine.
Right? Yeah.
Cool. And then so he makes it across and he gets to the school.
Yes. And everybody at the pool is like, have you guys seen Cody? Have you seen Cody? And they're like, if he's not here, I swear
Right.
there will be consequences.
There weren't.
And like the girls, it's a boys and girls team. And the girls go first, conveniently.
Naturally,
ladies first.
obviously, always.
And like Sam, I don't know what, they don't actually say what the
I don't
girls finish
think
in.
so.
Like
No.
they just swim and they're like, good job, girls.
Yay.
And
I mean,
then
I would think that Sam or the female teammate would have had to win. Because
yeah, they were at least.
I don't think the girls would get to go to state.
Yeah, they were at
without
least
winning
top
what the boys
3.
would. Yeah.
Top 3.
Yeah.
But one of the announcers, like, he's like announcing all the people swimming, and he says something about, what's his name? What's his friend's name?
The original friend, Sean Marshall.
Sean, yes. So they say something about Sean, and then they say his teammate and most
Arch rival.
Yes, teammate and arch rival. I was like, what?
You
can't be a teammate and an arch rival. Like,
I mean, you can. Racing is the only sport where you probably could.
I guess.
Like, it
but
wouldn't
I was
make
just
sense
like,
for Peyton Manning, and this is old Bronco. I don't know current Broncos.
I don't
but
know either.
It would be like Peyton Manning and Dustin Britton Colquitt being arch rivals, and you're like, you guys are on the same team. Like, that doesn't work. And
you be
also, one of you's a
cheering each other
quarterback,
on?
and the
Like,
other one's a punter. Like,
yeah, it makes sense because they're both competing for the exact same thing.
Yeah,
but
maybe not arch rival.
I wouldn't say arch rival. I would say
probably someone at another school that you hate a lot more, right?
You'd think that the other schools would be your rivals.
You never know.
Anyway,
but yeah, so what's funny about that is I'm like, I didn't know that you could delay the start of a race just because you showed up a split second before the starting pistol goes off.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, but TV.
It's, I guess.
Cody is the star. He can do whatever he wants.
Like, Cody has the worst main character syndrome I've ever seen in my life. Like,
honestly,
life literally just stops for him.
It literally stopped for him. They were like, to your marks, and then he goes, wait, I'm here. And they're like, okay.
He's literally like about to pull. Like, you see his fingertips up. He's about to pull. And it's just because he didn't go yet. It's like,
okay, we'll wait.
Go ahead. Get on up here. Take your shoes off. Take your time.
I love how he like gets up on the thing. First of all, how do you take off your pants and not realize your shoes are still on?
Same thought. I was like, I would definitely know that my shoes were still on.
Like, he has his swim bottoms on.
Yeah.
And then his shorts and his t-shirt and his shoes. So like, he takes off his shirt, takes off his pants, but doesn't realize his shoes are still on.
Honestly.
And then everybody starts laughing at him, and he's like, "What?"
He like gets up on whatever it's called, the starting
it's like a podium,
podium, whatever it's called.
Sure.
And he bends down, and his hands are
right next to his feet.
And I'm like, you can't see that.
I know your goggles are a little tight, but like,
no,
I'm pretty sure you can
shot,
see.
bro.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
So then they race.
Yes.
I don't know if you noticed. You probably did.
Mm-hmm.
I could not keep track of who was who as they were swimming, because when they first start, Sean should have been in the lane closest to the camera that they were focused on.
Yes.
They only focused on the 2 lanes. So Sean should have been in the lane closest. And then Cody should have been in the lane next to that. To the, like, one lane over back from us. Yeah. Thank you for this. That's what I could have come up with. Okay. But they kept saying that, like, oh, Sean's in the lead. He's beating him out. But, like, it literally kept going back and forth. And, like, Cody would be in the lead and Sean would be in the lead. And Cody would be in the lead and Sean would be in the lead. Who is this?
How fast is Sean that Cody can outswim a ferry, but not Sean?
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Like, what?
I mean, maybe the ferry's slow, but, like... it's a motored vehicle still. It's probably going to cover...
I want to see Sean outrun him.
I'm
ferry.
saying, I don't buy
He's
it.
like...
But it was super confusing because it's like I know that Sean's supposed to be in front, but the camera angles you're showing me are telling me that is not the case. They're back and forth the whole time.
Yeah.
It's a lot closer of a race than they want you to think it was.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
and like he literally touches the wall like a split second, a
literally
millisecond
so
before Cody does.
Yeah.
And then he pops out of the water and he's like, man, I thought I had you. And he's like,
in your dreams.
He's like, blah, blah, blah. I always win.
Basically.
I'm gold, you're silver. Blah. The ultimate tease.
For real. There were so many 90s cliches in this. And I was like,
I loved it though. I miss
there was one that I was like, bro, come on now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So then my next note was for the next, because kind of the next thing that happens is that you go to school and you learn that Cody is the most popular kid in school, basically.
Well, first Jess is part of the
I forgot about that.
marching band.
Mention that.
And he falls into the swimming pool and he can't swim. And like.
Yeah.
The coach is literally like, get that kid out of the pool.
Honestly,
and then everybody's like, oh, he's drowning. Cool. And Cody's the one who's like, I'll get him. It's fine.
Yeah.
And he jumps in and saves him. And everybody just leaves. They don't even make sure he's okay.
Right.
They just leave.
It's so whack. But it's something funny though. I kind of just skipped over that part, but whatever.
I thought it was funny because he's like, I can't swim.
It was funny.
And Cody's like, I'll get him. And everybody's like, okay, Cody's got it. Bye.
Okay, bye.
This is what you get for being late,
right.
I guess.
That's your tax. But then, you find out that Cody's like the most popular kid in school.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, first of all, this school cares a lot about swimming. Second of all, Sean's the best at it.
Right.
Why
so
is
why
Cody
is Cody the most popular?
Kid? But then I'm like, is it because Sean's an ass?
Probably.
That ain't how it works in the real world, though, is it?
No. I don't know.
Who's the most popular?
I was homeschooled.
Who's the most popular kid on High School Musical?
Troy.
Second most popular. Most popular female.
Oh. Sharpay.
Is she nice?
No.
No, she's an ass.
Why? Why is she the most popular? Because she's blonde and pretty and rich. That's why.
And that's...
Sean's not blonde, pretty, or rich, so...
Well, he's rich. His dad drives a BMW, but we'll get to that.
I guess that's true. I don't pay attention to cars.
I did, but only because I made a note. Also, I did put a note about the kid falling into the
Yeah, but it's
pool,
after that.
But I put it in the wrong spot.
Yeah, that's okay.
Anyway, but so like he's like, what about my sousaphone? Because like,
Cody he just says away. Horn, but yeah.
Oh yeah, he's like, what about my horn? And then it pans over to the horn. It goes, and it makes a big old fart bubble.
It literally goes,
and I'm like, that should have happened a long time before it did.
Yeah, the air would have escaped.
It was literally like, was the horn just under there waiting for the comedic timing?
Yes.
Like, wait. This is gonna be hilarious. What about my horn? No. I'm like, come on now. Yes, So then Sean and Cody and Sam are outside. And Sean's dad pulls up. Beep, beep. And Sean's like, hey, Sam, you want to ride home? Sir, that is a BMW. I couldn't tell what model it was. I don't know BMW well enough to know what model it is. It was a BMW with 2 seats.
2.
He ain't driving. He's 13. His dad's driving. Which means that he was planning on Sam riding on her lap, on his lap. You're 13, y'all.
Mm-mm.
That's gross. That's gross, boy.
Yeah, that's.
And then and then she's like, no thanks, I'll just walk home with Cody. He's like, are you sure? And she's like, I'm sure. But she like looks down at Cody's lips and then looks back at his eyes. And he's like, I'm sure. And I'm like, hey now, come on. Chill.
You're 13.
Chill. Children.
Cool it down. Cool.
And then dad and mom pull up and dad's got a vuvuzela.
I love it.
Which is a fun little sports horn that you can actually use to make real music.
Nice.
Sort of.
I did not know that.
Debatable how real music it is. But also I thought it was interesting that mom was driving the van. Mom only drives the van. The only 2 people you ever see driving in this movie, I think, are the mom and Sean's dad. Yeah. No one else drives.
That's driving a vehicle. Actually, a car.
You do see Big John driving a car, but that's way later.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Otherwise, they're driving boats.
Oh, this is why I wrote the Joe part about Regan Burns.
Mm.
Regan Burns. don't really necessarily need to go over it again because I already talked about it.
Yeah. There was something else I was going to say in here, but I can't remember. Never mind.
But anyway, so they drive off. Then we go to Big Joe pulling back in the dock.
Mm-hmm.
And he's intercepted by the guys, Joe and, Hal.
Yeah,
I was going to say Carl.
There's 3 of them.
No, there's only 2 of them.
Was Pete not one of them?
No.
I thought there were 3 of them making fun of him. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, Pete's someone else, but I don't remember when he shows up. But he does show up later. Anywho. Where was I?
Pulls back into the dock. And
and then he gets teased by the other guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then he goes into his little shack where he's got all of his mermaid stuff.
Yeah.
And then Jess comes in and he's like, Dad, can you help me dry out my sousaphone again? And I'm like,
this isn't the first time you've fallen into the pool.
Well, that was the first thing. I was like, okay, again?
Again?
Second of all, like horns, like brass instruments have spit valves on them.
Right.
Intended to evacuate the liquid inside of them.
Yes.
I'm like, you just do that yourself, bro. And it's
I want to know
horn. You don't really need to dry it out.
How did he get his horn out of the pool?
See, I had that thought too, but then I just was like, the janitor got it out.
That was my quick assumption too, but like
someone got it out.
Somebody got it out. An adult of some sort got it out. Or
yeah.
I don't know.
It wasn't one of the swimmers.
No, they were all gone. They left him. His whole band left him.
That was
alone.
Another thing too. I'm like, how do you get leaved alone by his band? I don't leaved alone.
He's the only sousaphone player, which is fine. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oddball, whatever.
It's okay.
But they all literally just left him.
Right.
So anyway.
Rude. So the next scene, we're in the school in the morning, and Cody's getting all of his high fives and flirts from all the cute girls that are so smitten with him because he's the most popular. And I'm like, but he's taken, so go get Sean, who's clearly single.
Obviously single.
You can tell he's single because he's an ass. And then you see a teacher, the math teacher, I found out, dragging a student by the ear, and I'm like, man, we need that back in school.
we need a little more discipline.
A little, maybe not that, but yeah.
But
little bit of something or other. I don't know. That's my opinion. Disagree if you wish, but I'm right.
Just I don't know. Something to make the kids respect their teachers again.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if dragging them by the ear would make them respect their teachers, but
it make them listen to them for sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, as a teacher, I would never do that.
Yeah. I wouldn't. I'm not a teacher, but
yeah.
Anyway.
I don't know. It's funny in when we did Addams Family, not this last October, but the October before.
Yeah.
I played Pugsley.
Right.
And there's the ending scene when the grandma pulls Pugsley out and she's like, listen here, bed bug or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna finish this sentence.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so it's fine to pretend the actress that I was working with, she's like, I'm just gonna put my hand right here and you pretend like I'm pulling. And I was like, you're not even touching my ear. Just grab my ear. It's fine.
Yeah,
she's
don't.
Like, no,
don't
I'm not doing that. I was like,
it.
okay.
Yeah, just don't.
It's like, okay,
it.
Whatever you're comfortable with, but right? I gave you permission to touch my ear.
I'm a method actor. I would be like, grab it. Just yank me.
Honestly, I was like, whatever.
What's the worst that happens? You rip my ear off? It's fine.
I already can't hear.
Right. All right, so we're gonna pause again so I can roll this camera again. Give me a second. Okay, so where did I leave? Yeah, you got that one?
Yes.
Because this is my first big 90s cliche that hurt my heart.
Yeah. I can't remember. Okay, so they're in their science class, right? And she tells them that they're going to be paired up and they're going
to become experts on
yes, they're going to
life.
become experts on marine life. And she's like, I gave you pairs so you can't pair up with your best friend. Smart teacher.
Yeah.
Fishes and seals and plankton. Oh my.
Yeah, that's like the passing comment he makes, and she's like, "What was that?"
Oh yes, okay, yeah.
And he's
yeah.
like, "Oh, I was just saying how much I'm looking forward to marine biology."
Yeah.
Not. I'm like, bro.
Yeah. That's. It is a cliche, but
yeah,
it
is a big cliche.
Yeah. He ends up getting paired with Jess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is my favorite part when the school bell goes off and she's like, "All right, get out of here."
Right.
I was like, watching that and I was like,
energy.
literally me. Whenever I finish teaching a class, I'm like, "All right, guys, get out of here. I'm done with you."
Like leave my face.
I've only been with you for an hour, but please leave.
Right.
I'm nice about it.
That's fine.
I just related with it.
Yeah.
All right, get out of here.
Yeah.
Okay, so then he's paired with Jess, who amazingly knows everything about sea life.
Well, yeah, because he happens to be the son of the man who's obsessed with mermaids.
Obsessed with mermaids, yes. And he's like talking to him at the water fountain, and Jess is like, "You can come over to my house. I know all this stuff." And he's like, "It'll be easy work because I already know everything."
Right.
Yes. And then he's like, "Do you want to come over tomorrow?" And he's like, "Tomorrow's pretty busy for me." And he's like, "Oh, why?" And he's like, "It's my birthday."
You can stop by if you want.
How he knows where you live automatically? Must be a small island.
Must be.
Maybe they're in Hawaii.
I guess. But then there's definitely still in the United States, and they ain't escaping capitalism for anything there.
Yeah, but I'm still just trying to figure out where they live.
Know. Maybe we can really dig deep and figure out where it's supposed to be.
So he invites him to his birthday.
Yes. Kind of passingly. Not really.
Yeah. He's just like, I guess you can stop by if you want.
Yeah.
Whatever. But he makes the comment. He's like, "Do you always drink this much?" Because the entire time Jess is talking to him, he's drinking from the water fountain.
Okay, my complaint with that is I'm like, okay, I get that we're trying to start moving things forward with the whole mermaid thing.
Right.
But it's not supposed to start until he's 13.
Right.
It's like, why is he so thirsty now? Is he always just that thirsty?
Well, here's the thing. When they find him...
Okay, that was a thought I had too.
How long has he been born? Maybe it's actually a couple days after his actual birthday.
I guess that's a fact. That's fair.
So maybe he already is 13, but it's technically his gotcha day.
Okay.
That they celebrate his 13th
That's a valid
birthday.
point. That's a valid point.
That's what I came up with.
I was going back and forth on it myself for a little while earlier today.
Because
I was like, I guess it could be something like that.
That's not necessarily the day that he was born.
Right.
That they found him. He could be a day or two old by then.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know? So.
I mean, if you look at the baby, he's like at least 8 weeks. That's
right.
a big baby.
That's a big baby. But
but maybe mermaid babies are big.
Maybe mermaid babies are big. I don't know. How are they born? That's my
question.
Hard to
say. Anyway.
We won't go into
no details there.
Births.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about. I wasn't thinking about mermaid reproduction, but I was like, how does that work?
Is it like a fish? Is it like a? How is this possible?
Yeah, I don't know. But
is it like a whale? That's the real question. Whales are I almost said mermaids.
Almost mermaids.
Whales are oh my god, mammals.
Yeah, they give live birth.
Yeah,
I'm sure dolphins? Mermaids give live birth.
Probably.
Yeah. Anywho.
Let's just crack it up to that.
Yeah. Okay. So then we go to Cody's birthday party the next day. Mm-hmm. And honestly, she brought out that cake. First of all, I was like, oh, that's very nice that we pre-sliced the cake.
Yes.
I didn't know. Yeah. Never have been to a birthday party where that's the case.
No.
Second of all, I'm like, that cake looks freaking delicious.
It looked like a strawberry cake.
I'm like, give me some of that cake. And she's like, it's beet cake. And I'm like,
I mean,
no.
Here's the thing.
No, thanks. No, thank you.
Don't knock it till you try it. I'm just saying.
No.
I would try it at least. I would try at least a bite.
Yeah. I guess I would try a little tiny bite. Because no, thank you.
Sometimes beets just like
beets do not belong in cake.
Sometimes it just adds color to things, but I don't know.
I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I love how she takes a bite. And she's like,
honestly, and I'm like, you're sick. You're sick, man.
Yeah, and they all make comments, and she's like, don't you like my cake? And he's like, oh yes, we love your cake, and your
what is it? Sugar free? Fat free
tofu something. And he stops talking, and he goes, I really need to paint those gutters. He's like, please don't get mad at me. I don't like your
Dodge
food.
it. Yeah. I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
So then Cody's like, I need to go get a drink of water.
Yeah.
And then he goes inside, he gets a drink of water. And then Sam
gets a
follows a glass of water. Oh,
Like,
cup,
chugs
glass,
it.
same thing. Yeah, he does chug that thing. But then Sam follows him in and grabs her gift out of the net.
Mm-hmm. Which I
Out
love
of the
that
net.
idea. I'm not gonna lie.
Grabs her gift out of the net
Yes.
and takes it inside.
Yes.
And says, did you think I forgot something? And I'm like, why would he
What?
possibly think you forgot
How?
to bring him a gift? Everybody's gifts are in these nets.
Yes. Yeah.
Wasn't saying that because I was like, I wanted you to
Oh,
shut
I'm
up.
sorry.
No. I kept saying in the net because I was trying to get that point across
Yes.
that all of the gifts
All of
were
the
in
gifts
a
were
net
in a
or
net.
several nets.
Yes. I was just gonna say that's a very clever idea. Like
It's so cool.
like if I have a birthday party, probably not. But
I'll
if
throw you one this year. I've got a patio.
for my 29th birthday,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
almost 30.
The pre-30 birthday. How'd that taste?
No.
This is totally random, but I just realized that this is my golden birthday year. How
You're
exciting.
gonna be 27.
Yeah.
Bro.
Anyway,
We'll have to do a party or something.
we should
Okay.
do a big party.
Yeah.
Here with gold everything. Gold drinks.
Gold everything, and we'll get nets to put birthday presents in.
Yes. But anyway, so she's
We
like, did you
derailed.
think I forgot something? And he's like, I had my thoughts. And I'm like, shut up. Nobody had any thoughts that anybody forgot to bring any gifts because they were all in
They were
net.
all in the net. Yeah. He's
And
like,
that made me mad.
yeah. Maybe
so
he
he
didn't
opens
see
it.
her put her gift in the net.
I guess, but was he
Oh.
like,
Put your gift in the net.
anyone
Gifts
who
in
brought
the
a
net.
gift, put it in the net.
Sam.
Yeah. So I'm like, no, that's not a thing.
Yes.
But he opens it and it's a pretty picture of her, and I'm like,
Oh,
oh,
you're 13. Like,
honestly. And then, so that was cute. And then
Yeah.
she tries to kiss him.
I love what she says. She's like, there's another gift, but this one you don't have to open.
Yeah.
And he's like, what?
Right? He's like, huh?
Which I was confused with too until I saw her.
Yeah. Then, as soon as she said it, I was like, this is stupid.
I was like, what?
It's not stupid. It's just like a cliche. Cliche.
And then she like closed her eyes and puckered her lips.
And
he
then
was
he
like,
electrocuted
Oh.
her.
He's like, oh, it's a kiss.
Oh.
She's my girlfriend. It's a kiss.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then he electrocutes her. And I'm pretty sure that is not what we mean when we say there was a spark.
No, that's
Not usually.
not typically.
But
It
then
has
he's like,
happened, though.
she's like, oh,
Like,
that was weird. Yeah, I've had it happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes I drag my feet on carpet and I kiss my wife. And ouch. But yeah. So then he's like, well, maybe we can try again. She's like, maybe on your next birthday.
She's like, we'll try again on your next birthday. You have to wait a whole year
You're
to kiss
13.
me.
You guys aren't going to be together in a year.
Perhaps not, bro.
And then our good friend Jess pulls up on his bicycle.
Yeah.
And then he gets made fun of by Sean. And like,
Because
Sean's an ass. And like, yeah, Cody and Sam don't really play into it, but they also don't really do anything about it.
Sam tries to
They're
stop
just like,
it.
that's not funny.
He's
But
like,
they don't,
you
go
want to
over
go
and talk
swimming
to
with
him.
us later? And she's like, he can't swim.
Yeah.
And he's like, haha, that's why I said it. I was like,
Yeah, but like, she doesn't really do anything
but
about it.
she isn't like,
She's kind of just like, blows it
like,
off.
"Sorry,
and like,
Jeff,"
it's not funny.
yeah.
Like, go over and talk
Yeah.
to Jess.
like,
But neither of them did it. And so he kind of just is like, nah, I'm going to dip.
yeah.
And so he's like, mom's like, are you another friend of Cody's? And he's like, no, not really. Will you give him this for me?
Here's this gift I got him.
Yeah, the guy who's not my friend.
One day out before his birthday.
Yeah.
Like, he found out his birthday was the next day and he got him a
He
gift.
literally went and bought him the gift. Probably that night. Which is a
Probably.
little bit weird, but
I mean,
he's also a kid who very clearly does not have a
Yeah.
lot of friends. So
Yeah.
he's like, oh my God, I actually get to buy somebody a birthday
Right.
present. I would have been excited.
like, it's
If
not
I had
a
any
really
friends.
thoughtful gift. If I had any.
And this is where I'd put my friends. If I had any. And then,
Yeah.
So then he's like, will you give him this for me? He gives mom the gift. And then
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. And some stuff happens. Right. And then he's up in his bedroom and their mom and dad are making jokes about how now he's a teenager and I liked you better when you were a kid. And then there's one more gift sitting on his nightstand. And he's like, it looks like you forgot one. And I'm like, Mom, you did not put that in the net on purpose.
On
This was
purpose.
deliberate.
Like, you put it on the, what?
Where did you put it? That
Why
it ended
didn't-
up in
why
his bedroom
didn't-
later.
Yeah. Why didn't you put it on the
because he wasn't ripping through all this wrapping paper and sees the one that Jess gave him and go, eh.
Right.
And then later on up in his bedroom is like, yeah, I'll open it now.
Right.
Nah.
Like,
kid was shredding through paper. He didn't know who got him what by the end of it.
By the end of it, no. Unless it had their face on it, he didn't know.
Yeah. Because, all the other presents were in the net. So
put your presents in the nets.
I think mom deliberately didn't put it in the nets because all the other gifts were still in the nets behind them when this happened. So I'm like, somebody's trying really hard here. Anyway, so then mom and dad are like, things change. Everything's gonna be different from now on. Today, after today, everything changes. Your whole life changes, or something like that. Yeah. And you're like, I'm like, Mom, this is a little too on the nose. This foreshadowing is a little too on the nose, guys. Yep. Okay. Yes, I know you don't do it on purpose because you're like, well, you're a teenager now, but nothing changes between 12 and 13. Nope. Not a thing. Nope.
It's pretty much between 13 and 15 that those changes happen. So yeah. And like even after that. Yeah. But like honestly, the big difference that I work with 13 to 15 year olds. So that I work with 10 to 16 year olds. So it's like that chunk is a difficult chunk in life. Yeah. It's a hard chunk. Honestly. To deal with.
So he opens the present, and what is it but 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Only and one. I'm like, I really want to read Jules Verne now.
Honestly, I saw that, and I was like, I want to read that. It looks so cool.
So I'm like, I'm going to finish the series I'm on right now, and when I'm done with that, I'm going to buy 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Mm-hmm. I'm going to buy From the Earth to the Moon. Mm-hmm. And this is where I struggle. I don't know what else Jules Verne has written, but I'm going to find out and I'm going to read it.
What are you reading right now?
Well, right now I'm reading Harry Potter. And then, he goes to bed and then he sees his mom in a dream for the first time. Yes. And I thought that was really, really elegant underwater cinematography. Yeah. I enjoyed it.
I liked it. For being in the 90s, like, it was pretty good filming. Yeah. A lot of really good underwater stuff there.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, then he wakes up, and he comes downstairs, and his mom's making him breakfast, and he opens the fridge, and he gets the carton of orange juice. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it's orange juice.
I'm pretty sure.
First of all, his mom's like, use a glass, and he's literally already chugging out of the carton. She's like,
use a glass, and he's like, gulp, 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 gulp.
Right. And then he's holding the carton with his palm on the side of it, and his fingers wrapped over the top of it. There is no support underneath the carton.
I know. It's like...
The way he's holding it is super weird. And I'm like...
He didn't have his thumb
he didn't have his thumb around the backside. It was up the side with the palm of his hand. And there's no support on the bottom. And then he finishes drinking, and he can't get the carton off his hand because it's stuck. And I'm like, you had no support under it, and you're surprised it's stuck to your hand?
You're surprised it's stuck. You know...
Like, what?
He's a brand new 13-year-old. His brain is changing.
I guess. He lost all of his common sense. So anyway, I thought that was weird. And then they do that weird thing where they're like
looking at
he starts looking at his hands because he's like, why is that sticking to my hands? And then his mom just starts mimicking him all seriously about it. Like maybe he's onto something here.
Like, is there something wrong with my hands?
Yeah. And then the dad walks in and just holds up his hands and he's like, am I the only normal one in this family? And I'm like, it's funny because in every other show, he's definitely not.
He's definitely not. He's the funny joke man.
Yeah. So that was a weird scene. But then we fast forward yet again. Fast forward a lot around here. Yeah. And he goes to meet Jess at the tide pools.
You're like, I like that scene too. And
that's a really cool scene.
Jess has
honestly, I liked it.
He's like, a lot. So Jess can't swim, right? We established that earlier. So he puts on like diving mask.
Yeah, it had to be a diving mask because it has to fit over his glasses because he's a nerd.
Because he's a nerd. All nerds wear glasses.
For those of you listening on the audio podcast, Marcia just pushed her glasses up her nose. Not up her nose, but like, she readjusted them
I just
to the bridge of her nose. Yeah. Because they were sliding down.
I did the nerd push, you guys know.
I'm like, she pushed her glasses up her nose. Ow, that hurt. Anyway, so
he's wearing the like snorkeling. That's the word I was looking for. Snorkeling goggles, and he's like looking in the tide pools, all the stuff. And because he can't swim, he has to like use the tide pools.
Right.
He can't dive in the ocean.
That looks like a lot of fun, to be honest.
Honestly. And then Cody comes around and scares him.
Yeah. He's like, what are you trying to do? Give me a heart attack?
Yeah. He's like, I could drown.
Drown in that? Oh my.
Yeah, so funny.
But so then like basically he's like, why do you like all this? Like Cody's like, why do you like all this stuff? And just like, I'm a nerd. Nerds have hobbies.
Like, we're people too, actually.
Yeah. And I'm like, honestly, I felt that. Like, I have a lot of hobbies.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, it's cool.
Yeah.
And then like I love how he goes into detail about like how much he loves it and stuff. And like you can kind of see the change in Cody's eyes where he's like starts to go like, okay, this kid isn't just a freak. They're like, okay, he actually is kind of cool.
He's all right.
He's like, you're brilliant. You might be my key to passing biology. Because by the way, guys, he was failing biology. Like first test, he got an F. So he's like, you could be my key to passing biology. And he's like, no way, I'm not doing your homework unless you plan to beat me up. And I'm like, quickest acceptance ever. He's just like, yeah, I know how life is. This is how it is for me.
I know how this
I'm not going to do
works.
it. Oh, I guess unless you're going to beat me up.
I guess because you're a popular kid, you might beat me up, so I have to do it.
I thought that was pretty funny.
I'm willing to bet that Sean threatened to beat him up if he didn't
probably. He probably does Sean's homework for sure.
Yeah.
You know why?
Because Sean's an ass.
Sean's an ass.
Yeah.
Okay, so then while they're doing he's like explaining the ecosystem of a tide pool to him. He notices that he has the scales showing up on his hands for the first time. And he's like, what is that? And he's like, nothing, I'm out of here. And then whatever. He goes back home and he's like Cody's like trying to wash it off. And he's freaking out. And his mom comes up and he's like, are you okay? He's like, I'm fine. Why wouldn't I be fine? Of course I'm fine.
I'm fine. Just washing my hands. You can never be too clean.
Yeah. So he comes out. Yeah, and then he comes out and he's like, you can never be too clean. She's like, yeah, I suppose not. And she walks away. And then he looks at his hands and watches the scales disappear from his hands. And I'm like, that's just normal? Like, that's fine?
What? Okay, sure.
Time is flying by right now.
We got to speed this up.
Yeah, we're going to pick up the pace after I get that camera rolling again.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. Sorry. All right. I scrolled down when I was walking away and I lost my place. But yeah, picking up the pace just a little bit because we're already over an hour, I think.
Sorry.
That's all right.
It was our Harry Potter tangent.
Sorry. Yeah, I might cut that out, to be honest.
That's fine.
We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Okay, so he has hobbies. He has quick acceptance. Scales vanish before his eyes.
Yes.
Okay, and then so then they're at school the next day, right? And then Jess is basically just trying to figure out when they can get together to do this stupid project.
Yes.
And he's like, you can come over to my house and we can make s'mores. And Cody's like, s'mores? And I'm like what do you have against s'mores, boy?
S'more. You're
What's
13.
wrong with s'mores?
S'mores are fantastic.
S'mores are still your life, boy. Come on. Go get yourself some s'mores. They're delicious.
Yeah. Like, what you gotta get?
And so then they end up going back to his house. And Cody says, is this where you live? And he's like, no, our summer home's just being renovated. This is where I live.
He's like, yeah.
And I'm like, I think I just skipped really far ahead.
No, that's where I'm at on here.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah. So, sorry, before that, they're at school, and he's like, I'm not used to talking to people who have to protect reputation. Actually, I'm not used to talking to people, period.
Not used to talking to people,
and then he makes that comment where he's like, no, our lavish summer home is being renovated. No, this is where we live.
He's like, yes, this is where we live.
And I'm like, for a kid who, quote, isn't used to talking to people, period, he has some damn good sarcasm.
He has some really good sarcasm. Instant comeback. Like, that was so good. Much like I said with Xenon, I wish I had that kind of,
No 13-year-old does have that wit. That's the problem with Disney movies.
I feel like I tried to have that wit when I was 13. Never happened.
You just come out sounding like a sassy
stupid.
brat or stupid. Yeah. Yeah, so then they do the thing, and then they go to school the next day, and they get their grades back for the project, and suddenly he literally went from having an F on, I'm assuming it was Friday.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, because Jess tutors him in exchange for giving him swim lessons. Yeah. We did skip that, but...
Whatever, it's fine.
It's fine.
So, on Friday,
Yeah.
He gets an F.
Mm-hmm.
On Monday, presumably. No, this would be Tuesday, probably.
Yeah.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
I would say a week.
About a week. Maybe the next Friday.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll take the next Friday. He gets an A. From
Yeah.
an F to an A. And I'm
Mhm.
like, okay. Yes, I realized that the teacher paired him with Jesse, knowing that Jesse would build him up.
Yes.
But getting an A from
Right.
an F,
Right.
the teacher 100% had to be
Should've
like,
been like,
you definitely made him do all of the work, didn't you?
You cheated. Come see me after class.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But no, she's just like, good job.
She's like,
You
hey.
might, she actually says, you might actually make it out of here alive. And I'm like, that should be the goal of every school.
Yeah.
If
Yep.
you are ever worried about a kid not making it out alive, you're
That's
doing
a
something
problem.
wrong.
That's the problem. Yeah.
Anyway, then we go outside of the school classroom, and he's drinking water again.
Yeah.
First of all, he hasn't figured out to bring a water bottle yet. And like we said, it's probably been about a week.
It's probably been about a week. Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
so there's a line forms behind, a huge line.
I love that.
No, what kids are going to stand in
Right.
line for a water
No, they're gonna
water
find
fountain?
they act like there's one water fountain.
It's
in
the
school.
only one in the school.
It's the only one. It's probably the closest to their classroom, but still,
Probably.
like,
If you're that desperate for water, don't stand there waiting for Cody.
honestly,
Then-
if I were a kid and there were someone drinking in the water fountain and it were more than like 30 seconds, I'd be like, "Are you almost done?
Right?
Excuse me,
Right?
Excuse me," because I've done that before.
And then the other side of me is like, if someone was drinking out of the water fountain, I walked up behind. If there was someone drinking out of the water fountain, there was more than 2 people behind him waiting in line,
I walk past.
I'm out. Yeah.
Sorry,
So that was kind of dumb.
but that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna let you take over for a quick second
Um,
because the next one. So okay,
Yeah.
I guess I don't. If you need me to help you like fill in like where it's at, then I can.
yes, I'm. How early do you think?
So basically, there's a water fountain, and then the
Oh,
next
yeah,
scene is them
yeah.
at home, and he's
Mhm.
basically like freaking out about his disease.
Yes, and he's says maybe it's an inherited thing, and yeah, he's like maybe it's from my birth parents.
Yeah.
And so like, yeah, how early do you think they told him he was adopted? I feel like it was pretty early on.
I love my job. I think it was pretty early on too, to be
Like,
honest.
Yeah.
But like, and then this actually spawned a question in myself
Mm-hmm.
where I'm like, okay, if I was a person, if me and Adriana couldn't have kids
Mm-hmm.
and we had to adopt a kid,
Yeah.
how early in that kid's life would I want to tell that kid
Right.
that they were adopted?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, I struggle with it because I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being adopted.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
So it's like,
It sounded like you were going to go into abducted. I'm sorry.
No, adopted. I think I almost kind of did say that, but there's nothing wrong with being adopted.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I'm like, I wouldn't want my kid that I adopted to be, I don't know, like not
especially
insecure, but like,
if you adopt them from birth, or like
yeah,
while they're still a baby, and they don't have the memory.
right. I think some of the things that freak me out are like some of the movies where there are adopted kids,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, why didn't my parents want me? Like,
Right.
what was wrong with me that they didn't
Yeah.
want me? And like, I don't know how we deal with that.
Yeah.
So, sorry,
ahead, go
we're
ahead.
gonna pause. I
Pause.
need to change a battery.
I feel like that's okay. I feel like in this instance that them telling him like, we found you, we don't know who your mom and dad are.
But they didn't tell him that they found him. They just told him that they adopted him.
Oh, really?
Because later, I don't remember if it's later in the, I think it's later in the movie
Mm-hmm.
where they're talking about his adopted parents again, and then the very next scene is him being like, so someone just put me in your boat. It's like,
Okay, yeah.
and I'm like,
So they must have just been like,
so you
they just
told him that
said
he was
he was
adopted,
adopted,
but you
and
didn't tell
now-
him that he was a sea
now that
baby.
he's asking about his birth parents, they're like,
Like, we
we actually don't know who your birth parents are. Okay, yeah,
Makes
that,
sense. But anyway,
Yeah,
adoption, man, is a cool thing.
yeah. I think it's a really cool thing, but
Yeah. But anyway, so then Sam and Cody go on a date.
their first date.
Their first date. Well, I don't know if it's
I
their
don't
first
know if
date,
it's
to
their
be
first
honest.
date.
It didn't
It's-
seem like it. It seemed like there's the first time they had held hands. But like it didn't
Yeah.
seem like it was their first date. Well, maybe it
Maybe
was.
like their
Maybe their
first,
first
real
official date. Yeah.
official date. Yeah.
Yeah. But so like the whole time that she's sitting in that chair, you can tell that her hair is kind of
hair's
frizzy.
a little frizzy.
And I'm
yeah.
like, this is because like every time they hold hands, her hair stands up because he's, got electrocutive powers for some reason. He's an
Electric
eel. Yeah.
He's not a merman. He's an eel.
Yeah, he's a mereel.
Mereel.
An eel man. But so her hair stands up, and like when the scene first starts, her hair's all frizzy, and I'm like, that is definitely because they shot this scene 4 or 5 times before they got the take they needed. So her hair looks ridiculous.
And I'm willing to bet that it was probably like the scene when he lets go, and then her hair falls, and then like I'm sure they filmed those scenes first,
probably,
and then they filmed like her hair standing up to get back to back. Yeah, and then they just like spliced them together.
Probably, it would make sense.
I don't know. I don't know how filming works though.
It depends. It depends on what you're trying to do, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that he giggles, and her first thought is just like, "Is there something on my face?" And she gets all embarrassed real quick.
Right.
And I'm like, y'all
have been together for how long, and why would he start giggling now about something being on your face?
Right. And I'm like, this is the first time you've held hands. It looks like.
Yeah.
So like, he's a teenage boy holding a girl's hand. He's gonna giggle.
Yeah. I love that he giggles.
At least I did. I don't know. And then the day ends, and then he's back home, and he's drinking from his water bottle, and he can't get his water bottle off his hand, so he uses his other hand, and he can't get it off of that hand, so he pries it against the wall, and then he uses his foot, and then he can't get his hand off the wall, so he uses his other hand,
and then he's crawling.
One thing leads to another. He's on the roof.
He's like, Mom, Dad.
Yeah.
And they walk in, and he's just hanging on the ceiling.
Oh, yeah. I forgot there's a scene, like, when he's first talking about having the rash and everything.
Yeah.
The dad's like, we should call the doctor. And the mom's like, no doctor. Right? Yeah. And then the Spider-Man thing, Spider Cody thing happens.
Yeah.
And they walk in, and he's like, call the doctor. And I'm like, wow, that was
instant. Like,
a snap decision that all of a sudden the doctor's okay.
I kind of understand it, but.
I guess, but if she's so against it, like, it's weird that is the thing that would push her over the edge.
Right.
Like, heart failure. Maybe I call a doctor.
Maybe, but
I call a doctor before that. Way before that. I mean,
I don't know.
Probably anyway.
I'm sure seeing her kid hanging, like, crawling on the ceiling.
I feel like you may need an exorcist.
I was just gonna say you might
change
your mind.
The priest, not the doctor.
Call the priest, like
Yeah. So the doctor comes, and he's doing his evaluation, and then basically he's like, "Can I speak to Cody alone?" And I was really confused why he wanted to talk to him alone. And he's like,
he has to use an embarrassing word.
I guess. But he's like, I've come to my conclusion, and that is that you are going through puberty. And I'm like, I'm not expert here. I'm a boy. I did, in fact, go through puberty. I couldn't climb walls.
Like,
how'd you get to puberty, doc?
Like, did they tell him that he was climbing on the walls?
Maybe not. Maybe I guess.
Not. Like,
but the rash, that is definitely scales.
You have a rash puberty.
Yep, puberty rash. That's a common thing.
Puberty rash.
Well, it might be common, just not on your arms. I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that.
Cut that.
Anyway.
Then they go to the pool.
Yeah, then they go to the pool where they're doing another swim lesson.
Yes.
And he's so Jess is getting the swim lesson from Cody. And Jess is like, I'm dying, I'm drowning. He's like, Jess, you're in the shallow end. And I'm like, yay, another cliche where someone's drowning in the shallow end. They don't realize they can just stand up.
He has arm floaties and a tube.
Yeah, water wings and an inner tube. It is like, bro, you are not drowning.
You're
you
fine.
are putting effort into making sure that your face is underwater.
You're just kicking and moving around. Like,
you're fine. You're fine. Okay, and then Cody said something that made me feel like he had suspicions already that he was turning into a mermaid without believing that mermaids were real. Yeah. Because he's like trying to get Jess to run tests on him, and he's like, we better do it fast before I sprout a tail and start spawning upstream. Yeah. And I'm like, why would you think that that's where it goes?
Yeah. I mean, the scales are the only clue that he has.
For all you know, you're just going to be covered in scales.
Right.
What's the name? Like, Gil?
Yeah.
From Kim Possible?
Yeah.
Like, maybe you're just going to turn into a lizard or whatever he was.
He just had webbed hands and feet, and he gills. Turned green and had gills.
So I'm like, maybe that's what's happening. How do you know you're going to spawn a tail?
How do you know?
Or grow a tail and spawn up? You don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
So they start doing these tests, and so he has that weird, like, sports water bottle. in the scene where it gets stuck to his hand. And then here he's drinking out of a gallon of water.
Yeah.
And I'm like, his bottle just keeps getting gradually bigger to show that he is getting thirstier and thirstier.
Like he's turning into a fish. He needs his water. Yeah.
He's gotta have it. It just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah. Then so they're like doing all these tests to see if he is turning into a fish. And they're looking at a fish tank, and Jess is like, "Go ahead, talk to him."
Yeah, he's like,
why is that your first instinct to you might be a merman, like communicate with the fish,
right? But then wildly he says, "You jump," and then it just
and it jumps.
does, like out of the tank.
Yeah,
like this fish just straight up suicides because the merman told him
jump,
to.
Okay, yeet.
Yeet.
So crazy.
Oh gosh. And then they are performing another test where he gets a light bulb out of the drawer and he gives it to Cody and it lights up. And they go, "Oh, use the force, Cody." And I'm like, it's not even a lightsaber.
It doesn't really make sense.
It doesn't, because I'm like, there's other references you could have made. Yeah. That was a stretch. That was a forced reference that wasn't necessary. And they didn't even own Star Wars yet, so
so like
whack. But whatever.
Crazy.
And then they're trying to figure out his findings, and he's walking along, and instead of a gallon of water, he's carrying a Fiji water bottle.
Fiji water bottle. To show that time had passed.
And that he can afford to buy his water now. He's not just getting it out of the faucet.
It's not just out of the faucet.
Oh, Lord. God. Okay, so then they go back, so Cody goes home, I guess. Jess goes to his house, and he's looking through some of his dad's mermaid articles.
Yes.
And then Big John comes up to him. His dad comes up to him, and he's like, "Take a sudden interest in mermaids, boy." Basically. And then he's like, shows him this picture that this guy, Dr. Mattis, I was going to write the pronunciation because I messed it up. Nisland, I think is how he says it.
Yeah.
Mattis Nisland. Mm-hmm. Right? That he believes is a picture of a mermaid.
Yes.
Right? And he's telling the story about how everyone thinks he's crazy.
Yeah.
But he still tells people that he believes he saw a mermaid. Mm-hmm. And then his son's like, "Do you believe him, Dad?" And he's basically like, "No, he's a fruitcake."
He's like, that's obviously a scuba diver. Like,
right?
This guy's just crazy.
When I watched it the second time, I paused on it, and I'm like, that is not obviously a scuba diver.
No, no, it's not obvious. It's like you have to like squint.
But it's also like, I'm pretty sure that this picture that you are showing me is a picture of a mermaid. Yeah. Not a mermaid, but of a mermaid. It is not a scuba diver.
What we have deemed a mermaid looks like.
Yes. And so I'm like, this is stupid. And then he's like, "Or someone crazier than me." And I'm like, no. He's not crazier than you.
Nope.
You're doing the same thing. You're a hypocrite because you're mad at all your friends because they don't believe you when you say you saw a mermaid. That's exactly what you're doing to this poor doctor. Yeah. Is you're saying he didn't see the mermaid. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, this is dumb.
So like, why do you believe that there are mermaids out there if you see that this is fake? Like,
He says that he keeps the picture because it shows that Dr. Nisland is crazier than he is. And I'm like, no,
there's
sir.
Someone crazier than him.
You are trying to catch a mermaid.
You're the crazy one. You're trying to catch her. Yeah. Yeah.
This is dumb.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he's reading. So Jess is reading this mermaid book, and he's like, "What does it mean that mermaids can live among the land people,
land-dwelling people?"
Yeah, land-dwelling people until they're 13.
Yeah.
So it's like, he's like, "Huh? You have Fiji water bottle in here twice?"
Yes, because they have a Fiji water bottle in there again.
Oh, okay.
In the science room. In the next scene.
Yeah.
This is a Fiji water bottle. And I was like, Brit. And then
maybe they moved to Fiji.
Probably not.
Probably not.
But maybe.
I don't know.
I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of white kids.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't know. I've never been.
Me either.
Yeah. So do mer kids have to be on land until they're 13?
See, that's like,
if they're not showing like gills and all that until they're 13, like.
Right, you kind of be led to believe that, but like he's clearly a baby and clearly been under the water and he's fine.
Right.
So like that makes you think he should be able to be under there.
Right.
But like, he's
why
also
is he such
totally fine once he comes out of the water.
He's apparently a terrible swimmer until he turns 13.
Right. Well, not terrible. He's pretty good.
I guess he's always in second place. But like
that second place isn't terrible.
I don't know.
But he obviously gets way faster.
Sean makes it seem like he's like
Well, that's because
and
Sean
awful.
is the fastest, and he's got to make him feel bad because if
I
he
guess that's
doesn't, he
true.
might start catching up to him.
I guess that's true.
That was my take on him. You know why?
Because
Sean's an
ass.
Anyway, but I'm like, he's on land without a problem
Yeah.
until he's 13. So
Yeah.
like, could he have been underwater too and been fine?
Probably.
Would the manipulations, the genetic changes have started at a younger age if he had been kept in the water the whole time?
Probably.
Do they only come out when he's 13? I don't know.
But I feel like because
didn't feel like that was very
live
clear.
right next to the ocean, like
Maybe
they
it's
clearly
humid
go
enough
to the
he's
ocean.
fine.
It's like
Yeah.
it's not like they didn't take him.
But he does mention like that in his dream
Mhm.
he's underwater but he doesn't have to breathe, which
Yeah.
means typically he does. So between his mom having him and him being able to breathe underwater and being put in
Yeah.
the basket and turning 13, somewhere in between all of that he stopped being able to breathe
stopped being
underwater
able to breathe underwater.
until he turned 13 and then he can again.
Yeah.
And then yeah.
So it
then
doesn't scientifically make sense.
no,
but
nothing
logically makes
does-
sense. No.
logically doesn't make sense. No. So then they go to the science room so that Jess can give him his final findings
Mhm.
with again a Fiji water bottle.
Yes.
And so then he tells him he thinks he's a mermaid and he basically thinks he's crazy. I don't remember what the lead line was here now, but basically he says okie dokie, but like the way he says it is so dry.
Okie dokie. Yeah.
And I'm like, that's weird.
Yeah.
But so he's like, I think you're a mermaid. And he's like, that doesn't make any sense. Maybe I swam by toxic waste or I ate a mutant fish. And I'm like, okay, so turning into a mermaid doesn't make sense, but toxic waste and eating a mutant fish does make sense.
I mean, 13-year-old logic.
Statistically speaking, yes, just as likely, I guess.
I guess.
But,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then they're back at home again. They go back
Mhm.
home a lot. There's a lot of
Yeah, it's
scenes
like
at home in this movie.
Home, school, Jess's house, and
Yeah.
a couple of scenes at the pool.
Yeah, or the ocean, but I count those as the same thing.
Yeah.
Ocean, pool, same thing.
Yeah.
But of course, he's trying to talk to his parents, and they're like, "It's just a phase." And then,
not
okay,
a
this is where that
phase.
note was that I put. So they told him he
Mm.
was adopted, but they didn't tell him where they
how-
found him or
yeah.
how they found him.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm sure there's not an adoption agency on this island.
Probably. I don't know.
Maybe.
Probably not.
Nobody drives anywhere, so
I mean, yeah.
how many people are on this island?
Yeah.
Enough
Oh.
to have an adoption agency? Probably not.
Probably not.
There are a lot
No.
of kids though. Now, okay, hold on. I'm pausing for a second
Pause.
because not like the podcast,
I
but
know.
just like the thought process here. Because I'm just realizing something. Their school is going to state finals, which means they're
Yeah.
in a state,
I mean,
and I doubt it's Canada.
yeah. Canada's not by the ocean.
I mean, it depends on where you are. Areas of Canada,
Sure.
especially if you're on an island that's part of Canada. I don't know if there is one, but I don't know. So I'm like, maybe they are on. Maybe they're in Hawaii.
Yeah.
That's like the most logical.
That's the most
thing
logical
here.
one.
But like not like the main island. They're like on like
They're-
Kauai or
Yeah.
Honolulu or something. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway,
Anyway. Yeah.
and then I don't know. There's one line that just kind of irritated me. I thought it was annoying. Like he's turning into a mermaid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his mom's like, "We got to find someone to make you better." And I'm like, okay, so like the fact that your son's turning into a mermaid is not okay.
Right.
You found this kid in the water.
You found him on your boat. Like,
Come on now, that's your kid. That's who he is. What are you gonna do? Stop it?
how?
So
Good
dumb.
luck.
So he goes upstairs, sad and defeated,
Mhm.
and he decides I love that he's staring into his fish tank, and he's like, "I'm one of you now." And you're like, "No,
Yeah,
sir, not
no,
yet.
Actually,
You are
you're
still
not.
a person right now.
Yeah.
You don't have the gills right now."
Yeah.
But then he tastes the freaking fish food, and I'm like, "Do you think mermaids eat fish food?"
Probably
'Cause
not.
I doubt it.
Probably not.
Probably be eaten.
They probably
be eating
eat
raw fish, but
yeah. Yeah.
anyway, you'll get the taste for it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then he goes to sleep, and then the second dream sequence happens
Mhm.
with the same exact footage and cutting as the first
yeah,
one.
but
Literally just went
it's
back
just,
and copy
it's
pasted.
just to show that like he's having
It's
this recurring
consistent.
dream about his mom,
Yeah, I get
but
it.
he doesn't know it's his mom just yet.
Right. I think at the second dream he starts having suspicions,
Right.
especially
right.
now
Once-
because he's like,
now
okay,
he knows that he was found.
I guess I am
on
I
their
guess
boat.
I am a merman.
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
He knows that he was found on the back of the boat, and he's like, okay, I guess that's a possibility that my mom is a mermaid and she put me on the boat.
Yeah.
And like his parents kind of, when they find out about him turning into a mermaid, they're like, that makes sense now.
Right. Like, oh,
makes
I guess.
sense. Okay.
How else would a kid randomly get into our boat in the middle of the ocean? He didn't get dropped off by a stork. We
Right.
know that's not how their babies
That's
come.
not how babies appear on boats, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the next morning, mom and dad are in the kitchen and they're like chatting about how he's like, oh, he's gonna get taken. If anyone finds out about this, then he's gonna get taken away to some military science experiments.
They're gonna experiment on him.
Yeah, and I'm like, I love in
like,
movies when parents talk in the kitchen, like it's physically impossible for the child to hear
like
them.
we had the same thing with Brink.
Yeah,
when they're like talking in the kitchen and they're like, we need money, and then Brink is like, I'll go get a job.
Right, like stop talking in the kitchen, parents. If you need to have a private conversation, go in your bedroom, lock the door, and play some sexy sounding music.
Ew.
And the kids will leave you alone, and you can talk about whatever you want.
Ew. I hate that. Okay.
But then the mom says, like, she's like, this is some bad karma, and dad says, I know. And I'm like, karma for what? Stealing a kid from a mermaid?
For keeping this kid that you found? Like what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the karma right there. Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah.
We got to get going.
Yeah, it's
taking a while.
Yeah. You got a lot of good notes on here though.
I took too many this time.
That's okay. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, and then I also thought it was weird how like the mermaid genes seem to pick and choose when they manifested, because like he starts swimming in the ocean and he's swimming in the ocean for a while,
for a long time, and he's like
no side effects.
He jumps really high out of the water
like a dolphin,
and his mom sees him and she's like, "Aw, that's my boy." She's like, "That's him."
Yeah, there
he is.
But then he's like, no fins, no gills, no nothing.
Yeah,
he's fine. He's crawling up. He gets out of the water. He's crawling up on the beach. Still nothing.
Yeah.
And then he runs out of breath and he flops on his back to catch his breath. Mm-hmm. Then suddenly the fins are there.
Then the fins are up here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when Sam walks up.
Sam conveniently arrives at that moment, and then it gets kind of awkward.
Digs his hands into the
that was
he's
fast
like,
thinking.
He's like, I'm just sitting here staring.
Yeah. So awkward. But then so then they have an awkward interaction, and they basically like she just leaves because she's kind of like upset. Like, I don't know what'd she say? Like, you've been a real case lately. And I'm like, that's
an interesting
weird term, but okay.
Way to say that.
So she storms off, and he's like whispers like, the truth is I'm turning into a merman.
Yeah.
And then they go to school the next day.
It's like no big deal.
And then he goes to see Sam and Sean standing there, and like it kind of looked like Sam was flirting with Sean. To be honest, not cool.
Yeah.
And then like they're being really mean to him, and because he's friends with Jess, and I'm like, this is another cliche where like the most popular kid in school becomes friends with the nerdy character, so now all of his other friends hate him.
Yeah. I like that kind of cliche. I'm not gonna lie. I like when like the popular kid is friends with the nerd.
I don't like that. That means their friends have to hate them.
Right. I don't like that their friends have to hate them, but I do like when they're like when the popular kid goes, "Oh, you're a normal person too. You're kind of cool."
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that myself, but
yeah.
Yeah. So then basically him and Jess are talking. And Jess is like, you got to stop swimming, bro, because like you're gonna expose yourself.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm gonna come. I'm going to the meet.
I'm going to this.
You can't stop me. I have to go.
Yeah. Well, even his parents are like, promise us you won't swim, and he's like, okay, I promise.
He actually never does.
Oh.
I thought he did.
Right.
But the way the scene ends, so the scene ends is he's like,
he's
mom is like, promise us you'll stay out of the water, and the scene ends with him going.
Oh.
He never says. He never promises
anything.
that. He
Okay.
will. Which was my loophole for him. I'm like, you're still okay. It's fine.
You're still okay. Yeah. But he does tell Jess.
He does tell Jess that he's going to the meet.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's not a big deal. It's just a couple races. No one will
He's
notice.
like, I'm so fast, nobody's going to notice.
Yeah. And then the next day comes, and it's the meet, and he shows up. And I'm like, why are you surprised?
Yeah.
He told you he was going.
He told you he was going to be there.
Why are you freaking out?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was funny. And then he's also like, it's just a stupid sport, and at least the other dumb sports have cheerleaders. And I'm like, all right, the nerdy kid likes the cheerleaders. And then when Sam sees Cody, she's all happy again, even though she was kind of being a bee to him before. It was kind of mean.
Very rude, a little rude. Yeah.
But suddenly she's happy again, and I'm like, well, that's because you miss him, isn't it? Okay, And then I was confused because at the other event at the school, the first event at the school, because both events were at the school.
Yes.
You know, states were held at their school
Yeah.
conveniently, even though they didn't know if they were going to be in the states, but whatever.
They're probably in Hawaii. I don't know.
There's only one school. They all just take turns meeting there.
Yeah.
They don't have
Yep.
school every day. It's every
It's
other
every
day.
other day.
Actually, every third day because there's 3 schools. Oh, whatever. But so they use a starting pistol at the beginning of the movie. And then
Yes.
for this one, they use an air horn. And
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
isn't a starting pistol a more accurate time starter? Because it's instantaneous.
Yeah, I feel like it
like
is.
the air horn is like, "Bang." Okay, was the timer start at the beginning of the horn or at the end of the horn?
Right. Yeah.
Starting pistol is a single sound.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway. And then they said at the first race and in this race that both Sean and Cody were setting a blistering pace. And I'm like, how can these kids
How
be
can
setting a
they-
blistering pace every single time
Every
they
single
swim?
time at the same time.
Right?
Just those two. Nobody
Yeah.
else.
Blistering
Yeah.
pace. Blistering pace.
Yeah.
And so then, yeah. And then mom and dad obviously go into Cody's room after he has to be left alone for a few hours.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they clearly don't trust him.
I mean, yeah.
And then when they open the door and he's not
Rightfully
there,
so.
they're like, oh my God, where is he? And I'm like,
Y'all know.
I wouldn't have even bothered going in the room.
Yep.
I would have gotten in the car and drove straight to the school.
Like, knock
Like,
on the door.
I
No
know he's
answer.
not in there.
He's at the school.
Yeah.
I don't even have to open the door.
Right?
Yeah.
I know he
Yeah.
ain't here.
Yeah. Yeah. And then he beats the record.
Yeah.
He
I
wins.
I
He
finally saw
gets
the
first.
timing. He beats the record by like 3 seconds.
Yeah. And
He's
everybody's like,
He didn't break the record. He demolished the
Yeah.
record.
yeah.
And then he spends way too much time celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
And he does not notice that his fins are on his arms.
Yeah.
And then he does suddenly.
Mm-hmm.
And he electrocutes. Suddenly his electromagnetic hands or his
Also, why is there a scoreboard in the pool?
Well, it's his timing board, I guess. Kind of the same
it looked
thing.
like a scoreboard.
It depends on how you format it, I guess.
Okay,
I don't
I guess.
know. That's what
Sorry,
it looked like.
continue.
That's fine. So he goes to get out of the pool because he's noticed after he touches the timer bar to stop the timer so that they know what time he stopped so they can declare him the winner.
Yeah.
And it doesn't set it off. But
Right.
then suddenly, when he notices he has the gills, then suddenly it activates his electromagnetic powers, and it sends a shock
like
through the entire system.
It's like Elsa when she first takes off her gloves and she's like holding it, and then she starts freaking out and it starts crystallizing, so then she has to put the gloves on real fast.
Yes.
It's that.
Okay,
It's because he freaked out.
there you go. It's nervousness. Okay,
Nerves.
now we know how his electros. But except he does like the thing where he points his fingers together.
Yes.
So like he clearly has some control over it.
Yeah.
So he jumps out of the pool and runs into the locker room, and then who should run out behind him but Timothy Chalamet himself? He looks like him
He
though.
does
Like the
kinda
whole
look
time I was
like him,
watching,
yeah.
I was like
Yeah.
Timothy Chalamet is a lot younger than this. So like,
Yeah.
it's not him, but
Yeah.
this is weird.
I'm pretty sure Timothy's like close to our age.
Yeah, he's somewhere in our area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If not
and the other
younger than
kid's 40. Sean's 40.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I mean, because 1999, they were probably between 13 and 15
yeah,
in 99. So,
yeah. So I think he said he's born in 83 or something like that.
okay.
I can't do that math in my head that fast, but
Yeah,
whatever.
that's like almost 40.
Well, to now, but I mean like to 99.
Oh,
I don't know.
I
ain't worried about it. But he runs
Yeah,
into
it's
the
like
locker
15.
room after him, and he's like, I don't know what you're hiding, but I'm going to find out.
I'll figure it out.
And I'm like,
I'll find you.
no, you won't.
No.
And
Fun
then,
fact, he's on the ceiling above you.
right.
Just look up.
Okay.
How did you not see him when you walked in?
That's what I'm saying.
He's wearing a bright red Speedo. How did you not see him when you walked in?
even you don't know this kid came from the ceiling, right?
Yeah.
But you go in and there's like nowhere else to go in this area. He's not on the other side,
Yep.
and he was close enough to you when you're running that he should have been.
Mm-hmm.
You should have seen him leave the other side, but you didn't. You
Where
have
is
like
he?
a couple of options, bro.
Yep.
Just
Plains
for
up.
gits and shiggles.
Oh my God.
Yeah, just for gits and shiggles, just look
Awesome.
up.
Could you imagine just looking up and seeing a kid hanging from the ceiling?
He'd be like,
I would.
I don't know why this makes you a faster swimmer,
I would be like, oh.
Yeah,
I would slowly back away.
I'll probably
Probably.
run, call the cops.
Like
I don't
slowly
know.
back away, run out of there. Not tell anybody. I wouldn't tell anybody. I would just let it be. I'd be like, I'm not going to mess with Cody anymore. Nope.
Right?
He's obviously possessed.
Right. Demon child, demon child.
There is something wrong with him.
Yeah. So then Cody gets off the ceiling and he runs outside,
Mm-hmm.
and his mom and dad pull up at the exact moment he's leaving.
The exact moment he is running out of the
What is
school.
that? The second most convenient timing in cinema history? Probably something.
Probably,
Like that?
probably.
I don't know. But then he's on the couch and they're trying to dry his fins off so that they go away. And they're like, "You're sure nobody saw you?" And he's like,
I'm pretty
positive.
sure. Does he say positive?
Yeah,
I
he
thought
says
he
I'm
said
positive.
Oh, okay.
And then Jess runs in, and he's like, "I saw what happened." He's like, "I'm pretty positive."
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, "You, sir, did not have enough information to know if anyone had seen you because those fins had been in your hand for probably about 2 minutes while you were celebrating.
Oh yeah,
and you didn't notice.
Yeah. And
so how do you know who noticed what?
Trying to dry him off and everything with the.
Yeah, and so then they finally tell Sam because she comes in and he's still got the fins. And she ends up leaving and being like, "This is too much."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "You're
She's
13.
like, "You honestly think he's turning into a mermaid?" And they're like,
"Merman."
That's probably my favorite.
That was the one line
scene.
That, like, as soon as I heard it, like, it played back in my head several times.
You're like, "Oh,
my
yeah."
childhood came back to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is the goal. So that was excellent.
Yes.
That was nice.
Do you want to explain your new theory you have here?
Where was that?
You have new theory. If he's moving through water, he doesn't change.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so what we've learned so far, what it appears to me is if he is actively swimming, he doesn't change.
Right.
Because when he goes in the ocean and his mom is in there by the buoy, like before he does the he doesn't change until he gets out. And he's like just wet.
Yeah.
And then suddenly he has the fins. Right? When he's in the race, he doesn't have the fins.
Until he's
finished and he's cheering and celebrating. And then suddenly he has the fins.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so maybe the theory here is that the mermaid parts of you start to take over when you're wet but not moving because it thinks you're drowning and it needs to make sure that you have your breathing apparatus.
That makes sense. And that makes sense why when he's first out of the water on the beach, he can't breathe.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
His body's got to change back to breathing air instead of water.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Is that a thing that they came up with? Probably not.
I don't know. Maybe they did.
Maybe they did. Well, but it's also like one of those things I'm like, it's just easier to edit this way. Yeah.
I'm trying not to sneeze.
Yeah. Oh. I should have wrote down the line that he said, but I don't remember what line it was. But I was like, oh, it's when Cody and Sean are about to get in their fight. And Jess runs in between them, and he's like, what am I supposed to do in between periods if you guys are beating each other up? That's what I'm supposed to be here for, is get beat up. And I'm like, Jess is the most self-aware nerd.
Most self-aware nerd. I appreciate it.
I love it. And then, later he's like, they have a heart-to-heart. They're walking down towards the beach, and he's like, you're the only person who's still with me.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, man. He's like, shucks, I love you too, Cody. Yeah. And then they start wrestling on the beach, and it's funny.
It's funny.
And then Cody later that night,
I believe so,
goes into the water, and they use the footage from his dream again, but they added some new footage, and we get to see him actually meet his mom.
Yes.
And then right when they're about to touch and their hands are about to spark because of reasons, who shows up but Big John?
Yes.
Who has nothing better to do with his life than to patrol around the waters looking for the mermaid.
He has spent 13 years looking for this mermaid.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe that's why Jess is so self-aware, because he knows he's the son of the crazy man.
Probably.
And so he's like, I got nothing better to do.
What if that's the reason that Jess is a nerd, is because his dad's disowned by the town?
Probably.
So embarrassing. It's dad's fault. So then he calls, what's his name? Cody calls Sam, and Sam's answering machine is so dumb. He's like, sorry, I can't get to the phone right now, but I'll call you back if you leave me a great message.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shut up. You're only going to call your friends back if they leave you a good message?
You're a terrible friend.
Yeah, for real. Rude. Yeah. And so then, so that scene ends. He's basically like, oh, I need you to call me, so it's really important. If you can't call me back, just meet me at the Cove tomorrow. And so,
he's like, I have to show you something really important.
Yeah.
And that's when sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. You're good.
Is that the next thing? He introduces Sam to his mom.
That's after the next scene.
Okay.
That I have with John, 13 years.
Got it.
So the next morning, next day sometime.
Yeah.
Big John is on his boat and he's rigging up some weird net, and Cody comes up and he's like, "What's that, Dad?" And he's like, "It's for the mermaid. I'm gonna catch her for real this time. I know she's out there."
Yeah.
And I'm like, it took this man 13 years to come up with the idea of just making a net,
a bigger net,
right?
Yeah.
He hasn't thought about a net for 13 years, and all of a sudden that's the best option. But he also does now know that there's something up with Cody, and he's pretty sure Cody is the mermaid's son.
Yeah.
So then we fast forward to later on. They're at the cove. Well, what's it? Yeah, Cody's at the cove, and Sam shows up.
Yeah.
And they basically have their heart to heart, where she's like, I know it was weird, or like, I'm sorry, but like, why didn't you tell me? And he's like, because, dude, like, it's middle school. Like, if you wear the wrong shorts, people talk.
People talk.
She's like, I'm not people. And I'm like, yeah, you're definitely a person.
You're people.
And then she literally says,
Cody's not a person.
I'm weirded
but you're
out,
a person.
but I'm not going to tell people. And I'm like, if you just saw it without being told and being asked not to say anything, you probably would have been.
Probably would have told people. Yeah.
Stupid. Yeah. Stupid. But then she leans in to give him a kiss. And it's like the most lame, like, did their lips even touch kiss I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, I didn't even hear a sound. It said, oh man, a kiss. And then he takes her down to the water to introduce her to his mom that he has never spoken to or even touched. Yeah. And then fins grow out of his hands.
He can like telepathically talk to her now.
Apparently. And she's like, does it hurt? No. He'd be wincing in pain if it hurt, but he does not. Yeah. So I don't think it hurts.
Yep.
But then it does.
But then it does hurt.
But then it does hurt because something happens. I guess what happened, my guess of what happens at that moment is that he suddenly, like, his body goes like, okay, bro, it's either merman or human. Yeah. And you're standing in water right now. So guess which one you get.
Yes, sir.
And so then he starts having, I'm guessing mermen don't need their appendix because that's the part of his body
honestly,
he starts holding.
That's literally what it looks like.
There's like your appendix just ruptured and it's like, I'm done. I'm out.
It's like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he's laying on the ground. He tells Sam to go get his parents and he's laying on the ground. He's like, what's happening to me? And I'm like, you are turning into a merman.
Like, that's the whole, this has been happening for like 2 weeks now, bro.
Yeah.
2 weeks. At least.
There ain't nothing to do about this. Yeah. And then John comes up and basically like kidnaps him. Yeah. While he's on the beach in pain.
But he sees that he's in pain and he's trying to save him is what it seemed like to me. But I don't,
But why didn't he just throw him in the water?
Because he
clearly knows that water will help him.
Yeah.
Because when he gets back to the dock, he dumps the water on him.
Yeah. But he's like, we're going to get you help. We're going to get you help here. This will help you. And he dumps water on him. So like, but like, is he trying to protect Cody?
I don't think so. I think he was just
but still catch the mermaid.
I think he was that dedicated to catching the mermaid that he didn't really care what state Cody was in.
Okay.
He wanted him alive, obviously, which is why he poured the water on him. But like, he didn't really care that he was in pain. Yeah. And I thought that was messed up.
Maybe he didn't realize he was changed. I don't know.
Maybe he thought that he needed other medical. He seemed like he knew that water would help him, though. That's my problem with the whole thing. Like, you're not going to go get a doctor because you clearly know that it's the water that's going to help. Yeah. So, I don't know. I was getting irritated with that. Yeah. I didn't like John. He's messed up in the head. Yeah. And then, okay, I know that fish can't escape nets. Yes. But that's because fish is stupid, right?
Fish is stupid, yes.
This mermaid who gets caught in the net went through the bottom of the net. Yes. Don't you think she's smart enough to be like, I just need to go down and get back out to where I came from?
I feel like yes. But also the way it looks is like she's trapped at the top and can't get herself flipped.
But why not?
I don't know.
She's smarter than a fish. She should be able to.
She's like stuck in the net.
Just do it. And then the nerdy kid who can't swim suddenly can swim because it's convenient for the plot.
He says, I can't believe I'm going to do this. Grabs a knife.
Yeah, he can't swim and he grabs a knife.
And jumps into the ocean.
Yeah.
I'm terrified of the ocean. I'm not going to jump into the ocean.
Best case scenario.
I barely walk hip deep into the ocean.
Yeah. Like, best case scenario, this kid doesn't cut himself when he jumps in the water. Worst case scenario, he stabs himself on the way down and dies.
Like.
But or he does end up successfully cutting.
Maybe he loses the knife when he jumps in from the impact. Like,
maybe he lets it go. I don't know if I could
know.
hold on to a knife when I jump into the water like that. That was
Probably
a
not.
pretty high
Probably not.
jump,
Yeah.
especially for a kid who can't swim
Yeah.
until
Mhm.
conveniently now. So then
Yeah.
he does end up freeing his mommy,
Yeah.
Cody's mommy.
Yep.
But then, because of
Mhm.
plot convenience, his foot also gets stuck in the net.
Yeah.
That was nowhere near when it started falling, but whatever.
Well, because
he's clear of
he's
the,
like treading water at the top of the water, and he's like, "Yes, I did it. I can swim. Look at me, I can swim." And his dad like raises the net, and he's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"What
Then
did
the-
you
then the
do?"
rope comes undone,
Yeah, and then it
falls.
comes. Yeah,
And
and
that's right.
that's how he gets dragged under. Is because
I
it
forgot
falls.
about that part. You're right.
Yeah.
Shucks. And then,
Yeah.
oh yeah, his dad is like, he's like, Jess, and he jumps in the water.
Mhm.
Like he was watching him when he got sucked under.
Yeah.
And he jumps in the water, and he's literally just like looking left and right and left and right and left and
like-
right. He never goes
Yeah.
underwater to look for his kid
Right. Right.
that he saw got sucked under. And I'm like, are you just dumb?
Probably.
But then, of
Mhm.
course, Cody managed to get himself over the edge of the boat and gets into the water and saves him.
Yes.
But when he gets up, he has no pulse.
No pulse, and he's not breathing.
And I'm like, you guys have very limited time here before this kid goes
Mhm.
brain dead.
Yep. Yep. And
Without a
like,
pulse. That's not how this works.
I guess CPR has changed, but like,
Yeah, you don't need mouth to mouth anymore.
no.
You just need the chest compressions.
Yeah. And the time between her stopping the chest compressions and Sam breathing,
Mm-hmm. Too long.
too long.
If you needed
Yeah.
it at that point, yeah.
Yeah. It would be Sam waiting there. She'd go 1, 2, 3, breathe.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, breathe. And she goes 1, 2, 3, 4. Now.
Right.
And you're like,
Too big a gap.
sorry, y'all killed him.
Right. But
He
then,
was legally dead.
Yeah. But then magically, the magic electro hands
Yes.
of Cody. He's like, oh, I have an idea. Let me just use my defibrillator hands.
Everybody, back up. I got this.
There's no way that your hands have that much
No.
current.
Sorry, I got
You're
really
good.
loud.
It's fine. There's no way your
like-
hands carry enough current for that
No.
to work. But then it does. But then my problem
But it
is
does.
this kid was drowning.
Yeah.
When you get resuscitated,
Mhm.
like whether it's by mouth to mouth or a defibrillator, I guess,
I guess.
whatever, you will wake up and you will puke out the water that is
Yes.
inside of your lungs and your
Mhm.
stomach. And he
Yep.
just gets up and goes, was I dreaming or is your girlfriend kissing me a second
Yep.
ago?
Yep.
And I'm like, you should have
Like-
thrown up water all over everyone because that's now just in your stomach and your lungs still because
Yeah.
nothing came out. But then I'm like, classic nerd. Interpreting CPR is getting kissed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then I was also confused why Cody's mom didn't do the compressions and
the breathing. Yeah. Yeah. Like
that's definitely a thing you could have done.
I guess if Sam had the CPR training, that makes sense. But it didn't seem like she had.
Yeah, but if Sam had the CPR training, then she could have
She
done
could
the
have done
compressions
both.
and the mouth to mouth.
And like I just did a CPR training like a year ago now,
Oh,
so
nice.
like I'm like slightly knowledgeable.
I am not certified
Not-
in CPR. At all.
Not a lot.
I haven't
but
ever been, I don't think.
It was like it was supposed to be a 3-hour thing, but it ended up being like an hour and a half because there were 4 of us.
Neat. It's
So
really
it was
easy to
like-
get through material
yeah.
in that time when there's only 3
Yeah.
people.
But it is better if you have 2 people doing it because then there's less time between the compressions and the breathing,
Right.
except in this instance.
Right.
But yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah.
I probably have to renew that. But
And so, yeah. So then Cody's mom reveals herself in the water
Mhm.
and they all stare at her. And then Whit,
Yeah.
the dad, looks at her and says, she's beautiful. And I'm like, the fact that Sharon didn't slap him when he said that
Mhm.
is inaccurate.
Yeah. Yeah. Like.
I'm like, am I not beautiful? I'm your wife, sir.
She's like, yeah, she's pretty, I guess.
I'm like, she's pretty, whatever, I guess. It's
I guess she's
fine.
pretty, whatever.
But then, like, Cody's like, I have to go. She wants me to go with her. She's the only one who can help me. And she's like,
Mhm.
but you're my son. And I'm like,
He's
wrong.
not your son.
He's not your son. He is her
her
son,
son.
actually. Facts.
But then, like, all of a sudden,
yeah, but then
she
yeah,
can communicate with her.
I look.
Like,
she,
they can
she looks up
communicate
and
with
just
each other.
looks at her.
And she's like, go with her. She said she'll take care of you. She'll have you back before school starts. And I'm like,
Okay.
can he come back on land?
Yes. Because, okay, so next that happens is he's saying bye to Sam, and Sam's like, promise you won't fall for any mer girls while you're gone. And he says, I promise. And I'm like, you cannot promise that.
You can't promise
Number
that.
one, you've
You're
never
13.
seen a mer girl. Number two, you're 13. Number three, you don't know that your mom's actually bringing you back here, because I'd venture to imagine you probably can never go back.
Yeah. Like,
because if you could, doesn't it stand to reason that his mom could
also
have gone on land,
go on land.
and then gone to get him back?
Is his mom Ariel?
Bet you on land, they'd understand. She probably was like, so tell me about the land thing. Like,
He was like,
what are those things you walk around on?
let's go.
Feet?
Hmm.
Oh, what if she's not Ariel, but she's Ariel's mom? And he is one of Ariel's. No, never mind. Can't be. Can't be. Because
Have you seen Ariel's beginnings?
No. Maybe. But it can't be, because he does mention when he does a little thing between his fingers, it's like, I don't remember Ariel doing this.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Theory blown. Well, we tried.
But, no, never mind.
But yeah. So then there's a beautiful ending,
Mm-hmm.
I think, where he's swimming away with his mommy, and he does the dolphin jump out of the pool again, just so that you can see he has the full tail.
Yeah. Because, like, when he first jumps in, isn't it like...
It's like he's got
like flippers on his feet. Yeah. And then... Yeah. She's like... Yeah. And then he does his little jump.
Yeah. I already said this part, so I don't need to say that. But okay, the other thing I guess I did add on another note down here was like, can he come back? Like, his mom clearly can't go on land.
Yeah.
But like, maybe he can go on land until he's like 18. And then it takes full control of his body.
Because he's a boy. Because if anybody has... Sorry, I'm going back to this. If anybody's seen Mako Mermaids, it's like very rare for there to be a merman.
Fair enough.
Like, their whole thing is like mermen tried to take over the ocean, and so they
killed them all? That's whack.
They eliminated them.
How do they make more mermaids?
They have this pool.
The moon pool.
The moon pool. And that's in like the 3 girls in H2O become mermaids in the moon pool.
That's right.
And then in Mako Mermaids, the boy is like camping with his friend, and he finds this hidden cave, and like when the moon is at the top, the floor that he's standing on, conveniently right over the moon pool, disappears, and he falls into the moon pool, and that's how he becomes a merman.
Wow.
So you have to be in the pool.
Good to know.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Mako
And then
Mermaids.
my last note on the whole movie.
Yes.
Can you tell me what you thought about the ending song?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember it.
Okay. I hated it immediately.
Do you know what it was?
Like, the music was pretty jiving. It was a song that was exclusively written for this movie.
Okay.
I can't sing it off the top of my head.
Yeah,
But like,
I honestly cannot remember.
Garbage. I was like, this is the worst. Please play anything.
Anything
else.
Pull in Xenon. I don't care.
Yeah, for real.
Get
Luna's
Protozoa in there.
Look who's here.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is the 13th year.
That's the 13th.
That's the whole thing in at 2.5 hours. No, just 2 hours.
Okay. I mean, this is the longest we've talked about a
long
movie.
time. I need to take less notes next time.
Yeah.
We need to figure out how to blaze through this faster.
Yeah. I mean, Smart House is going to go by pretty fast, I think.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you're going to talk a lot about the technology behind it, and I'm just going to be like,
how much of it is like actual real life stuff? Yeah, maybe. Yeah. What's funny is that the movie itself is only an hour and a half long. And we just talked for 2 hours about it.
Well, we did go on a few tangents.
It is nice.
So.
It is nice to go over to like talk about things, but
yeah.
What we're gonna do now is what is your ranking of 5 stars?
I am going to give it a 4.
A 4.
Mostly because I think this is what started my love for mermaids.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, it's so silly, but
that's okay.
The nostalgia behind it, and I was like, ooh, I want to be a mermaid.
I dig it. That's the whole point.
And like
the nostalgia and. That's
I was
super
like,
fun. Okay.
I was like 4 when this came out. So
yeah, I watched. So like at the end, he's like swimming away like a mermaid, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I should ask Marci how hard she thinks it would be to learn to swim like a mermaid. And then I was remembering that you actually taught yourself to do it. I
taught myself how to do that. That's how much I wanted to be a mermaid.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's super cool.
And dance helped me with that weirdly, but I know I taught myself how to do it before taking dance classes. But yeah, it's not.
I'm sure it may helped you perfect it though.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I would also give it a 4 for very similar reasons. Nostalgia and I didn't want to be a mermaid, but I thought it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it. I like
Yeah.
Disney, so it's hard. DCOMs were
Yeah.
my life, so
Yeah.
it's really hard to not like it. But any closing remarks? Anything you'd like to say about the movie?
I really liked it. I think that I kept hearing his voice and I was like, he sounds like another actor. And I'm sure he was in other DCOMs or other shows that
Probably.
I've seen, and that's why it sounds so familiar. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I think because it was the 90s, there were a lot of cliches in there, but I would take out a few of them.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
And like all the awkward like, are they gonna kiss? They kissed. Oh no, they didn't kiss.
Right.
Is that a kiss? Well,
I take that out too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, not all of the DCOMs need a love interest. I'm sorry.
Right.
But like, whatever.
Yeah,
It was the 90s.
for sure. Right on. Well, on that note, guys, you can follow the Instagram on the podcast. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at Noah Parker's World of Wonder. You can also find us on TikTok at the same username. And you can find us on all major podcast platforms by just typing in the search bar of whichever one you prefer. Noah Parker's World of Wonder. You can also find us on YouTube at Noah Parker _channel. That'll take you to the YouTube channel where you can watch not the live video. It's not live. You watch the video version of make that utterly failed today. It's been one camera for a long time, but that's okay. And yeah, make sure you rate wherever you are watching. Share it with your friends and family. And I know this was a doozy, guys, but I appreciate anyone who's stayed and watched or listened to the whole thing. Y'all are awesome. We'll try to tighten it up next time.
Yeah.
It's not as fast as we thought it might be. Oh yeah, next week's episode, if I remember my calendar correctly, will be Caleb and I talking about Harry Potter books.
Ooh.
I believe we are kind of discussing some of the major differences between the Sorcerer's Stone movie and the Sorcerer's Stone book.
Nice.
Let me double check that here. Yes, that is exactly what we're doing. So, if you haven't read it, I don't know if you have time to read it the next week, but maybe.
Try and get an audiobook.
Yeah, get an audiobook. You can get a free download on audiobook. Give it a quick listen. And until then, guys, let the wonder take hold.